Welcome back to the SHU Sports Report, Pioneer fans. Sacred Heart Sports had quite the weekend, and we've got all the coverage coming your way. I'm Anthony Saccone.
And I'm Ryan Toohey. It was an action-packed weekend spanning from rowing to football to everything in between. So, Anthony, let's kick things off with some women's volleyball.
Absolutely, Ryan. Sacred Heart finished out its regular season play with a 2-game road trip over the weekend as they headed down to Pennsylvania to face off against Robert Morris and St. Francis U. Even with a playoff berth clinched, the Pioneers were ready to finish off on a strong note. And it was a perfect weekend for the Pioneers as they won both matchups and extended their win streak to 3 games. In the first matchup against St. Francis, it was all Sacred Heart as they pulled off a 3-game sweep. Redshirt junior Lisa Nellis had a whopping 15 kills, and first-year Alex Polk, well, she wasn't too bad either with 12 kills of her own. First-year standout Sarah Sizik kept on racking up the assists like we've seen her do all year as she tallied 35 assists and added 17 digs to go along. It was much of the same on Saturday against Robert Morris as Sacred Heart won this match 3-1. Robert Morris was able to push the match to 4 sets with a win in the third set, but SHU closed it out in extra points in the fourth for the win. The team had 52 assists on the day, and of those 52 assists, Sarah Sizik tallied 44 of them on the entire day. First-year Emma Smallcomb continued her great season as she had 3 serving aces to go along with 14 total digs on the day, and Lisa Nellis finished with 19 kills and 15 digs of her own. Nellis and Sizik both earned weekly awards. Nellis was named Moulton NEC Co-Player of the Week, while Sizik was named NEC Moulton Rookie of the Week. Sacred Heart Women's Volleyball is back in action tomorrow with a 3:30 p.m. first serve for the NEC semifinals, where they will take on the top seed LIU Brooklyn.
And if you can't make it out to Brooklyn tomorrow, you can catch the game on necfrontrow.com. We'll keep it moving with some Sacred Heart wrestling. The wrestling team competed in their second tournament of the season this past Saturday at the Journeyman Classic in Troy, New York. The team took on Bloomsburg, the Citadel, and Appalachian State. Sacred Heart wound up defeating Bloomsburg 24-19 with the wins coming from freshman Connor Fredericks, sophomore Anthony Falbo, and seniors Gerard Daly, Paul Klee, and Brendan Levesque. Sacred Heart also edged out Citadel 24-22. The winners from SHU included freshmen Anthony Petrillo, Kyle Davis, and Seth Brown, and Daly and Falbo grabbing their second victories of the day. SHU fell to Appalachian State, but it was nonetheless a successful tournament for the team as they defeated 2 out of the 3 teams. The wrestling team now looks ahead to the Keystone Classic hosted by the University of Pennsylvania, which takes place this upcoming Sunday, November 18th at 10 a.m.
And halfway through the weight classes in the match against the Citadel, the Bulldogs led 15-12 before Falbo and Davis racked up 6 points each in team totals to take the lead and hold out the Citadel.
Now let's get the fans caught up on Sacred Heart football and their trip out to Pittsburgh.
Will do, Ryan. Sacred Heart hit the road this weekend as they took on the Dukes of Duquesne for a huge NEC matchup. Sacred Heart football looked to remain undefeated in NEC play as it was a tight contest. Unfortunately, the Pioneers lost 28-24. It was not the start the Pios were looking for as they found themselves down 14-0 in the first quarter. The Pioneers finally got a spark in the second quarter as first-year stud tailback Julius Chestnut broke free for a 71-yard touchdown run. Duquesne would then answer with a touchdown of their own as they went up 21-7. Sacred Heart would answer in the third quarter as senior Jordan Meacham rushed for a 1-yard score, bringing the Pios within 7. Unfortunately, the Dukes would answer and go up 28-14. Later on in the third quarter, 50-year Kevin Duke would rush for a 3-yard touchdown, but it was simply not enough as the Dukes would add a field goal in the fourth and take the game 28-24. This gave the Pioneers their first NEC loss of the season. Chestnut's performance, however, earned him his 3rd straight NEC Rookie of the Week. No need to worry, Pioneer fans, because the Pios are right back on the horse next week as they battle NEC opponent St. Francis U. Not only is it senior day, but a win for these seniors will give them at least a co-NEC championship title. All eyes would then be on the Duquesne CCSU game, as a CCSU will give SHU the automatic bid into the FCS playoffs. The only thing the team is worried about is getting the win at the noon showdown against the Red Flash right here on Campus Field.
Even though their destiny isn't quite sealed, the Pioneers need to finish out the regular season on a strong note, so be sure to get out to Campus Field to support our seniors in their final regular season game here at SHU.
And before the break, we will jump into the pool with swimming and diving as they had a big meet over the weekend. Swimming and diving hosted Assumption at the McCann Natatorium on Saturday, looking to get one more win before the ECAC Winter Championships. Sacred Heart hit the water hard as they took 5 first-place wins in the stroke races, while taking 3 first-place wins in the freestyles. Sacred Heart swept both relay races, taking first in the 200 medley and the 200 freestyle relays. In the diving portion, both first years Megan McLaughlin and Molly Martin took first and second respectively. Leading the piles were juniors Lauren Summers and Kim Hyland. Summers claimed first in 3 individual races and was part of the 200 freestyle relay team that took first. Hyland took 2 first-place finishes as well as being part of the 200 freestyle relay team. Swimming and diving heads to East Meadow, New York, November 30th for the ECAC Winter Championships.
After the break, we have our very own Alex Bousquet standing by with this week's Update Corner.
Welcome back to the SHU Sports Report. I'm Alex Bousquet, and for this week's Update Corner, we will start things off with Sacred Heart Rowing, who had a successful outing at the Fall Mets over the weekend to cap off their fall schedule. The Novice 8 team had the most success on the day as the team finished in first with a time of 5 minutes and 23 seconds. The Varsity 4 team also found some success as they capped off their race in second place, almost hitting 9 minutes flat with a time of 9:01. Check out SacredHeartPioneers.com to see when the spring schedule is released for Sacred Heart Rowing. We'll put away our oars and pull out the saddles as Equestrian hosted a hunt seat competition over the weekend. 5 first-place finishes, followed by 9 second-place finishes, helped SHU edge out the competition as Sacred Heart took High Point team just 2 points ahead of second-place Yukon. Senior Carrie Ann Johnson's 2 first-place finishes earned her High Point Rider on the day. Senior Victoria Caputo would take 2 first-place finishes as well, while sophomore Haley Tyler rounded out the team's 5 first-place finishes, as well as being named Team MVP. Hunt seat hits the road to Yukon on Saturday with a 9 a.m. start, while Western heads to UMass for a doubleheader on Sunday, with the first event starting at 9 a.m. We'll head from the stables to the rugby pitch as Sacred Heart Rugby took on a tough Mount St. Mary's team in the Tier 2 championships. Earlier in the year, the Mount ran away with the victory, but Sacred Heart came to fight. SHU sophomore Isabel Cuddy would get 2 tries in the first, giving Sacred Heart the lead in the first half before the Mount would tack on a try with a good conversion to take the lead into halftime 12-10. Sacred Heart would come out hot as sophomore Caitlin Lagasse would put the Pioneers up by 3 early in the second half, 15-12. Unfortunately, Mount St. Mary's would rally back with 2 unanswered tries to walk away with the victory 22-15. Sacred Heart ends their fall slate 5-4 overall and 5-3 in conference play on their way to the championships. Make sure to follow Sacred Heart on SacredHeartPioneers.com for their Spring 7 schedule release. That's all for today's Update Corner, but stay tuned because after the commercial break, we have more SHU sports coming your way.
We are in the home stretch, and we will start it off with some men's ice hockey team who had a tough 2-game series this past weekend against the Black Knights of Army West Point. Sacred Heart looked to get their second Atlantic Hockey League win on the road for Game 1. Sacred Heart struck first in the first period as freshman Ryan Steele scored a goal following an assist from senior Jackson Barlians. West Point would tie things up early in the second period as they would score on a power play. However, SHU would quickly respond. A little over a minute later, sophomore Mark Johnstone would score the go-ahead goal following assists from senior Stephen Hladin and co-captain Mike Krokock. but the Pios wouldn't be done there. A few minutes after Johnston's goal, junior Austin McElmurray found the back of the net as well to increase the Pioneer lead to 2. Just a little over 2 minutes later, however, SHU would get another goal, this time from redshirt junior Jason Cotton, and this made the score 4-1, and the Pioneers would go on to take the first game 4-2. The win would not only be their second conference win of the season, but it was also the 100th career win for head coach C.J. Maritolo. And from all of us here at the SHU Sports Report, we want to congratulate Maritolo on the achievements. But Maritolo and the team couldn't celebrate for too long, though, because less than 24 hours later, both them and West Point were up in Bridgeport to compete in a mid-afternoon game at Webster Bank Arena. West Point would come out for revenge as they would score 2 goals in the first period. Sacred Heart would cut the deficit in half in the second period as sophomore Marcel Goodbout would score his first collegiate goal at the 11:34 mark. However, that was all the scoring SHU would be able to do on the day, as West Point would proceed to double their goal total from 2-4 in the third, thus giving them the 4-1 victory. Men's ice hockey returns to action this weekend for a 2-game series against Mercyhurst at Webster Bank Arena. The first game will be tomorrow for a 7:05 puck drop, and the second game will be on Saturday at the same time.
Sacred Heart has a tough November schedule as they will hit the halfway point of 9 straight conference matchups this month.
And basketball season is underway as both the men's and women's teams had their home openers earlier this week. Anthony, why don't you get us all caught up on the men's team?
Well, Ryan, men's basketball looked to build off their second half performance in their season opener loss against Holy Cross. Sacred Heart did just that as they put a pounding on Western New England. Sacred Heart's offense was absolutely electric as they scored 114 points in the game. Needless to say, the Pioneers went on to win this contest 114-72. Leading scorers of the night were first-year Kareem Ozier with 26, sophomore E.J. Anaseki scored 18 points, and first-year Aaron Clark scored 16. Redshirt junior Jarrell Spellman was a force in the paint as he hauled in 9 total rebounds, and first-year Cameron Parker was spreading the wealth as he tallied 14 total assists and also hauled in 7 rebounds on the night. Looking to build off a huge offensive performance, men's basketball is back in action this weekend where they will compete in the Brown Bears Tip-Off Classic, where they would take on Army West Point, Brown, and UMass Lowell. All 3 of those games will be held in Providence, Rhode Island.
And we'll round out the show with the women's basketball team, who also look to build off an impressive second-half performance in their season opener loss against UMass. A week later, the team took on Siena College at the Pitt Center for their home opener. SHU trailed 15-11 at the end of the first quarter, but would pick things up in the second. They'd quickly tie the game on points from sophomore Adrienne Hagood and graduate Catherine Haynes. This would spark a rally from SHU, and they'd extend their lead to 30-22 with a minute 35 remaining, and it was all SHU from that point. The Pios would dominate Siena for the rest of the game, taking this one 72-50. Graduate student Erin Stork led the Pios with 17 points on the evening. And women's basketball looks to carry that momentum when they travel to take on New Hampshire for Sunday for a 1 p.m. tip-off.
And that'll wrap up the show. From all of us here at the SHU Sports Report, we will be taking a break for Thanksgiving, but be sure to tune in the following week to get all caught up on your Sacred Heart sports action, highlights, and more. I'm Anthony Saccone.
And I'm Ryan Toohey, and have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.